What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It PG. I am Dione Bolding.
And I'm Charlier Shepard, a.k.a. Shep.
Shep, and we're two guys from Prince George's County, PG County, to just talk about things from a PG County perspective, sports, life, family, our faith, and anything else, current events, anything of that sort. So hopefully you picked up our first podcast. There's a big ups for that because we've been talking about that for a while, and we finally did it, and now the ball is rolling. So we're going to be doing this weekly, and we're committed to it. Shep and I also hold each other accountable of doing other, like getting up early, and once we say we're doing it, all right, now we're locked in. So hopefully you enjoyed the first episode. Shep, what did you think about the first episode?
Man, it was fun. It was fun. It's exciting to, like, I reposted you on Facebook, and it was just like when you have a vision, go after it. And we had the vision, man, and now it's just getting done. It's like you can sit around and plan all day, but I saw that thing when you sent it to me. It's like, man, it's exciting to have like your vision, come to life, and people get to, hear, listen to it. Shout out to my parents and Patricia for checking us out, and I know some other people will, and we'll get rolling with the views. No worries. Consistency. Yeah. Consistency is what it's about.
Exactly. We will get better and better, get our format, and that's what we're doing now. We're working on that. We know we want to pare it down. We went almost an hour last time. That was fun, but we really can't go an hour because we're trying to be this more consuming base, so you consume it in a short setting, drive to work, on a treadmill, whatever it might be. Right. So we're going to get right to it. Each week we'll have a different topic that we want to touch on. And so this week, since we are in the pandemic of 2020 of COVID-19, and Shep and I both work in sports with coaches and athletes through FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, we're going to talk about the effects of COVID-19 on sports globally, locally, professional level, local level, just our take on it. And what we've seen from our take in the county that we're in, how it's affecting the athletes and coaches and the programs, and then what will be the new normal? What will sports look like in the future? Will we ever get back to how things used to be? So that's our topic for today. And I'll let Shep go first. What, just in general, how have you seen sports affecting it? Like, did you think it would get like this?
Man, we thought sports were untouchable. For them to cancel, like when they were talking about the first event was the Final Four. When they were saying, talking about spectatorless Final Four, and then they canceled the Final. I'm like, they're not going to cancel Final Four because of the money. I don't care what's going out there, what's going on. Like, that's how my lifetime has went. They've never canceled sports. Like, sports doesn't get canceled. You're crazy. And when they canceled the Final Four, I was like, oh, snap. And then after that, they started canceling every other sport, senior seasons and things for spring athletes. Football, which is, who I work with at UMD, they for them it's tough because they just came off winter, so they were getting all these games, getting swole, getting strong, and then all of a sudden they had like a super extended spring break. So now we left for spring break and haven't come back. So these guys, the strength coaches are absolutely worried to death. Like, are they eating? Are they lifting? They're going to lose their gains. Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? And think about it. I mean, you got anywhere from 18 to 22-year-olds. I don't know. Some guys have that desire and some guys don't. Like if I didn't have my dad to push me all summer long when I was in college, who knows how often and how hard my work would have been. So, it's the state of football right now is really, really weird. Guys are trying to social distance, but I see a lot of guys that aren't, and then I see guys that are like trying to come up with these workouts. Some guys are hitting it hard, man, but it's going to be a weird football season because, like I told somebody, man, the first 3 games are going to be horrible whenever they happen, if they happen, because they won't be able to get to practice until like a week or 2 before all of that stuff. It'll be like Little League, that first Little League game where everybody's just running around and just like, what's going on? This is one guy who's better than everybody and scores all the touchdowns. That's what it's going to be about the first couple of weeks in college football. Who has the best ballers? Yeah. And however that happens, whoever does that will win. So I'm, we're all in limbo with that. But that's kind of just the short effects I've seen, as far as right now, as the guys just trying to maintain, and coaches are still doing Zooms and all that stuff for installs and for all that good jazz. But really concerned about the guys, man, making sure that they're healthy, making sure that they're lifting, and making sure that they're eating the right stuff. 'Cause
Yeah. Oh, facts. I know even my personal gains are no longer gains. They're very small gains because it's hard to the routine that you have, and now you have a new routine and you don't have the equipment and you're home and you can't get outside. It's still cold out and it's raining. Like it's very difficult. Yes, you can find a way, but I was like, I'll get back to my own personal gains once
yeah,
all this kind of settles down. But I know personally for sports, I'll go personal first. Working with the coaches and athletes I get the privilege to work with at Bowie High School, it was like you didn't know the last day that you were together was going to be the last day
yeah,
of the school year and of working out together. So the last workout, I was with them. We're in the weight room. The coach got the text message or the alert that they're closing school for 2 weeks. And so he was kind of, as soon as he read it, he was all feeling some kind of way about it. And the kids were like, what? And he's like, I'll tell y'all after workout, just go work out. And so he's him and hawing about it. And then
yeah,
he's like, look, they just made this this soft pansy thing about COVID-19 or whatever, so we can't meet for 2 weeks. So I'm gonna send you out. So he's like telling what they're gonna do for 2 weeks, and then when we get back from spring break, it's on. And no, like that was the last time they were together. Like literally, that's the last time the team was together. And who knew? Who knew that that's going to be the case? So I seen the drop off from the 2 weeks because the kids were locked in for 2 weeks, and then they're
yeah,
like, oh, spring break. But I've been texting kids, hey, how are your workouts going? I sent them some stuff to do at home,
yeah,
and they're like, yeah, about that, or they were just weren't, they weren't feeling it or whatever. So
yeah,
the crazy thing is also that everybody's on the same playing field, like everybody's doing the same. It's not just like Maryland, the state of Maryland is in quarantine and they
yeah,
have to be locked down. Throughout all NCAA, throughout all the schools that at least are going to be competing against,
yeah.
everybody's in the same like hold still, which is crazy. I was thinking, my wife and I were talking about the effect. We're talking about this morning, the effects of COVID-19 and the sports wise. They had the Olympics during a war. Like a war was going on,
They still,
and they still have the Olympics. There's no war. We're at peace. There's no current war that I know of, or some large scale, and the virus shut down the Olympics, which is in months away. It's not even right now. It's
that
in
hurt. That
July.
hurt.
Yeah, and people have been working 4 years to get to that Olympics, and they're like, no, we're gonna have it next year.
That'll make you fight.
Yeah, it's just we just never thought that you would be in this place where it shuts down everything, including sports, where you used to escape to sports to get away from the reality of what's going on. I
Right.
remember doing 9/11, that sports that kind of stopped for a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks. But once a game was on, it didn't matter game it was on. We were watching it because it took away from all the
Yeah,
sadness. Right now, we
that's a
can't
good
even
point.
escape to that, which is crazy. Have you had any personal contact with any of the athletes or just given their 2 cents about how they're
Yeah,
feeling about this?
I've had some contact with them, and some of them are, again, you get two sides of the spectrum, man. You get the guys that are like, man, I was swimming and work, and I had all these assignments, and they got canceled, and that was great. You got the guys who love to work out that are just they're dying right now. And you
Mm,
got the guys who are just like, man, I don't mind. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind it. Like it's cool, so it depends on the type of guy you got. You got your laid back guys who really just talented ballers, and it's just like, it's cool, we'll be back. You got the guys who lift 3 times a day and that are freaking out. Then you got the people who just are like, I don't know how to feel, I'm
whatever.
just here. You know what I mean? Whatever coach tells me. But I think you hit on something just now when you said um the impact of sports after a pandemic or a disaster, man. Like, I remember that Hurricane Katrina game in the Superdome after Hurricane Katrina, and Gleason blocked that punt, and like the Superdome had like registered like Richter scale type stuff, like how loud they were, and like that just set the city on fire. New York, after the Giants and the Jets playing, after that stuff, after school shootings and things, people taking on the field in their hometown and playing their butts off for the city. after Sean Taylor died here, you remember
Mm,
how we lost the game to the Bills, but we played like lights out. And I heard that we lost, but they played their hearts out in that game. And
yeah.
just like, I cannot wait. That's one thing I'm looking forward to is what's going to happen after this ends and the guys get to step on the field again. Like it's going that first week of football or that first week of sports back is going to be epic, man.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to bring the country together. Just like people watching, nobody's sports aren't on, but when MJ's documentary came out, the whole world tuned in. You know, sports have an impact, and
Mhm.
I can't wait to see the stories and the things that came from. And it sucks that I'm living through something that my great grandkids will be reading about in a textbook, but it's cool though because when we come out of it, this country I think is just gonna, those cool times of unity is awesome. Those ESPYS when you see the Arthur Ashe Courage Award and people just like together in the name of sports is awesome. So I'm looking forward to that, and I know that when we get back, a lot of guys will be um, more appreciative, of what's going on, and you may see this boom of just crazy sports moments when that comes back. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think the taking sports for granted as something that you get to just do
Mhm.
is it's been taken from you, and not even in the sense of get to go play like professional or an organized setting, but just to go outside and play. Like you can't even go play pickup ball right now, at least in our the quarantine level that we're at in PG County in the state of Maryland. Like you can't do that. So sports, even on a very small scale, has been taken away. So the appreciation of competition and exertion and camaraderie, like you take it for granted on the small scale, let alone the large grand scale of professional sports or that high level competition sports. So I think it's going to be on, and we won't take it for granted the way, I mean, at least for a while. As soon
Yeah,
as things get back to normal, they're gonna be like, okay, we get sports is back. But
yeah,
even like if golf was on right now, I would like, I think I'm gonna watch the golf. Like if it was live, I miss live sports. I miss watching people be at their best
yeah,
in competition. So I agree. I think it's going to be all scales from little peewee to the Olympic level
right.
that you're gonna see guys like kissing the ground, kissing their racket,
Yeah.
eating grass, like doing all that stuff, kissing the
Yeah.
ball,
Just
because
because
they're gonna
they
be like, oh my gosh, I'm back.
right.
And even on the rec senior level, like senior citizens, like they're gonna get out there and rub the dirt in their
Pickleball court,
hand.
baby.
Exactly, bocce ball, like all that
Yeah,
stuff. They're gonna be like, you appreciate it on a different level when you can't have it, and so it's gonna be on and popping for sure
yeah.
once we're
That's the
allowed
limbo I
back.
think we live in though. Like, man, if we could capture that, that limbo that we live in as human beings, you see things happen to us or things devastating or whatever get taken away. We appreciate it and then we get used to it again. That's
Hmm.
kind of like human nature, man. It goes all the way back again to the Bible. Like I was just reading that the other day where the Israelites left Egypt and man, like they were, for those who don't know, they were just like slaves and in bondage, right? I mean, they were like really in bondage too, like working like dogs, but they get out into the wilderness and they don't have nothing to eat. And they're like, man, we had all the food in
We should
Egypt,
just go
man.
back.
We had everything. Like it was like they was like, we had all the seeds, the watermelon. I was like, yo,
You had nothing.
but y'all was slaves though. And they're like, God, what are you doing? I'm tired of this manna you giving us. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And that's like literally the human condition. Because right
Hmm.
now, that's how it's gonna feel. But then like people gonna be like, I miss when we were in the house and the air was clean. I'm like, wait a minute, guys. What? And that's just
Yeah.
like we had like if we can capture that moment in a bottle, like Space Jam, like that secret stuff, and just like capture that appreciation that people have once people pass, or like when tragedy strikes, or when something that happens like this. Like you said, if we can capture that first week back, I really think like if we can learn, which I don't know if we'll ever get it as human beings because there's just on to the next thing. But if we could learn to do that, man, how awesome would that be to kind of keep that appreciation for things? Like only time that really happens if it's somebody personal. Like you see stories of guys whose parents pass away when they're young and they play the game for them their whole life, or